those claps go out to my personal Best Picture choice, Spotlight. When I first found out what this film was about, I was extremely nervous that it was going to be incredibly depressing, incredibly sad, and just a film that I walked out of never wanting to see again. And I've never been so surprised to be proven wrong about that. In case you don't know, Spotlight is the name of the team of journalists that uncovered the scandal of child molestation in the Catholic Church, and needless to say, there is a bit of resistance that they meet. The thing that struck me the most about this film was how much humour they actually managed to fit into it. This particularly came from Michael Keaton's character. There were moments throughout the film that were funny and made me laugh, but I had to stop myself because I felt bad about laughing. There was just the ignorance that is portrayed in this film about what these priests were actually doing is mind-boggling, and I had to laugh in a mixture of exasperation and anger. I was just frustrated at so many points in this film watching it. There's one in particular. If you've seen the film, you probably will be able to tell which one I'm talking about. The minute it happened, I just leant forward and just went, what? What? This entire film is just a massive kick in the stomach. I think it's fair to say that everyone knows the general story of the abuse within the Catholic Church, but I think very minimal amounts of people actually know where it stemmed from. And I think that is the most amazing thing about this film, is that it is a second opportunity for people to come forward. When Team Spotlight first uncovered it, they received thousands of calls after their first article, thousands of new victims coming through. Team Spotlight were the reason that so many people felt like they were finally able to talk about what they went through 30, 40 years ago. And that is huge. And what this film has done is opened it up to a new set of people. People that maybe didn't have the strength 10 or so years ago, 10, 15, 20 years ago when the events of this film actually happened, but are now seeing it on such a massive scale that they can finally come through and talk about it. I was reading an article the other day about how they were at a press conference in Paris, and the editor-in-chief of the Boston Globe was saying that after the press conference, a man came up to him and just said, "Oh, by the way, when I was 6, I was molested by a priest." That is mind-blowing, that so many people can talk about such a horrible thing because of an amazing film like this. I've never seen Rachel McAdams do such a serious performance before. I think maybe I've just been watching the wrong films of her because she'll always be Regina George to me. But she was great in this film. Who was absolutely outstanding was Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, 2 years in a row now, has been nominated for Best Supporting Actor, and I really hope that someday soon Mark Ruffalo finally wins an Oscar or a Golden Globe, because this man is just incredible. There is just such raw emotion to every line he delivers. It might be subtle or it might be outright screaming in someone's face, but it is amazing. Stanley Tucci as well. I wasn't expecting his character to be anything like it was. I didn't know anything about the characters that each actor was playing, but Stanley Tucci took me by surprise. There was a line that his character gave, and he says, "If it takes a village to raise a child, then it takes a village to abuse one as well." It literally punched me in the stomach. It was the kind of line that is going to stick with me. But overall, this film is just stunning craftsmanship. I mean, there's nothing particularly new about any of the scenes or the sets or anything like that. It's no Revenant, you know, it's no Room. There's no environments that are particularly noteworthy. I'm not sure if it was the screen I was watching it in, but one thing that bothered me was the cameras, particularly in Mark Ruffalo's scenes. When the focus was on other characters, I didn't notice it, but in a couple of Mark Ruffalo's scenes, they kind of filmed him from here down. Like, you couldn't see the top of his head, and then it would cut away to Michael Keaton, it was perfectly framed, which made me think that there wasn't anything missing from the projection, or that the projection was too high. But that does not take away from the fact that this is, for me, the best picture of 2015. I think it's very much a two-horse race between this and The Revenant. Ultimately, I won't be upset if Spotlight loses to The Revenant, but I would be a lot happier if it did win over it. I would honestly give Spotlight a 10 out of 10. Despite my tiniest issue with the camera and Mark Ruffalo's forehead, it didn't bother me that much. It was just, that's more of a personal preference for me, I guess. I particularly remember filming in school for media or drama and constantly being told that we were cutting the tops of people's heads off. And that was the critique every time for every single group. So when I see it in films, it just kind of takes me back. And I think that kind of makes me really, really have an issue with it. Like I said, I thought it was going to be one of those movies that I walked out of and never wanted to see again because of just how dark it was. But it wasn't. The humour in this film, while sometimes making me feel a bit inappropriate, was just a perfect balance. Because you don't want to go to a film and feel nothing but depressed the whole way through. You don't want to just have all these abuse stories thrown at you. Because they can't. Because that would just be too much. And I think that would make a film unenjoyable. So having a balance of light-hearted one-liners here and there, and the odd awkward inappropriate bit of humour because of the just stunning ignorance, with the seriousness of the issues that happen, really makes a spectacle of a film and really makes a film enjoyable and makes you want to see it again and say, that was a good film. And not just a good film, that was the best film of last year, because that's what Spotlight was to me. Thank you for watching my review of Spotlight. You can subscribe if you would like, you don't feel pressured to. I've already done a few reviews of this season's most amazing films. Stay tuned for more of my reviews if you would like. Thank you.